I'm Dhruti, you're watching TimesXP and welcome to the top US news. Dr. Meenakshi Sarkar, a respected Indian professor at Leeds University Business School, has spoken out strongly against UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer's immigration plan. She feels that Starmer's proposals are based on political showmanship and ignore the crucial role that migrant workers play in the UK. The UK is currently facing a lot of pressure over migration because the number of people who are moving to the country has been rising rapidly, with net immigration figures reaching close to 1 million people between 2019 and 2023. Now, Starmer called this particular situation chaos and proposed strict measures to control the migration. Starmer's new immigration white paper aims to reduce the number of migrants coming to the UK. His plan includes raising requirements for skills and language, as well as extending the time that it takes for the migrants to gain permanent status. However, Dr. Sarkar believes that these changes won't benefit the UK economy or its citizens. In fact, she argues that they ignore the dependency the UK has on the foreign workers. In a LinkedIn post, Dr. Sarkar challenged the Prime Minister to prove that UK could actually function without migrant labours. She proposed a thought experiment. What would happen if migrant workers in the UK stopped working for 1 month? She suggested that all the jobs currently filled by the migrant workers, from bin collectors, IT professionals, or even daycare workers, should be given to only British citizens for a month. If the British citizen can fill those roles, then jobs should stay with them. But if they can't, then the problem lies not with the migrants, but with the lack of skills in the local workforce. Dr. Sarkar also pointed out that migrants, specifically the international students she was talking about, contribute a lot to the UK. She says that she herself paid over 27,000 euros in visa fees, taxes, and NHS surcharges over the last 12 years. So, instead of seeing migration as a threat, she believes migrants are an asset to the UK economy. Dr. Sarkar also argued that international students should not be counted as migrants unless they switch to work or family visas. And lastly, Dr. Sarkar warned that if the UK continues to focus on dividing people by nationality and creating an us versus them mentality, it could lead to a divided society where people no longer feel connected to each other. She ended her post with a strong message. I have earned my right to be here and no one can tell me otherwise. So, let us know, what do you think about it? Have you ever heard the word impeachment and just wondered what it really means or why it's such a big deal in American politics? Well, let's break it down in simple and clear way, because something really important has just happened in the US. A US congressperson named Sri Thanedar, who is originally from India, has introduced article of impeachment against US President Donald Trump. Yes, you heard that right. He wants Trump to be impeached again. First of all, who is this Sri Thanedar? Sri Thanedar is an Indian American congressman from the state of Michigan and a member of the Democratic Party. Sri Thanedar has made headlines by accusing Donald Trump of serious wrongdoings and asking Congress to take strong action. In his own words, he wants lawmakers from both political parties to stand up for the country, defend their oath, and protect the American people. He believes that Trump's actions have harmed American democracy and it's time to hold him accountable. Now let's pause for a second. What does impeachment actually means? So in simple words, it's like saying a powerful person like a president has done something really wrong and they must face the consequences. It doesn't immediately remove somebody from power though, but it starts a legal process in Congress to investigate and possibly removing them from the office or prevent them from even entering. Now let's talk about the serious actions that Sri Thanedar is talking about taking against Donald Trump. He says that Trump ignored the US Supreme Court when it ruled that a man named Kilmer had been wrongly deported and said that he should be back. Trump didn't listen to the court and violated basic constitutional rule. Thanedar also accused Trump of misusing government money, interfering in trade policies, and threatening American allies. He even said that Trump created a fake government office called the Department of Government Efficiency, which is also called as Dodge, and gave Tesla CEO Elon Musk unusual powers over the government and personal data. Yes, it sounds strange, right? But these are real claims made by a congressman. Thanedar didn't stop there, by the way. He also said that Trump attacked freedom of speech by going after journalists and critics too, engaged in bribery and corruption, and tried to take total control over the government, something that goes against the very idea of American democracy. According to Thanedar, all of this shows that Trump wasn't just bending the rules, he was breaking them in a very dangerous and international way. He listed all these reasons in a formal resolution and introduced 7 articles of impeachment, which are basically 7 strong accusations. He is now asking both Democrats and Republicans in Congress to come together, look beyond politics, and stand up for the US Constitution. He says that this is not just about political revenge, it's about protecting democracy before it's too late. Now let's stop and think. Do you believe somebody should still be punished even if they are not? Well, this is a heartbreaking story about a young Indian American student whose life was full of promise but ended too far too soon. His name is Gaurav Vijay and he is just 25 years of age. He was on a very fun graduation trip to the Bahamas with his classmates from his university, but tragically, he fell from a hotel balcony and he didn't survive. Just 6 days before his graduation, his dream was suddenly cut short. Firstly, let's understand what really happened. Gaurav was a student at Bentley University, a private university in Massachusetts, United States of America, known for its strong business programs. He studied finance and he had also taken up computer information system as a minor. He was doing quite well, active in student life, part of a fraternity called Delta Sigma Pi, and also involved in the South Asian Student Association at the university. Everyone knew him and they also said that he was a bright, kind and full of energy kind of a person. Every year, Bentley University organizes a senior trip for students who are about to graduate. It's a chance to relax and make some memories after finishing final exams. This year, the trip was to the famous Atlantis Paradise Island Resort in the Bahamas, a very popular destination spot with beaches, pools and a huge hotel. Gaurav was there with his friends enjoying his last few days before the graduation. But on the night of May 11, something went terribly wrong. According to local police in Bahamas, Gaurav was in his hotel room with some roommates when he fell from an upper ground balcony. He was found unresponsive on the lower level. After that, emergency team rushed him to the hospital, but sadly he passed away on the way. Well, the police are still investigating the incident, but early report says that it looks like a terrible accident. Gaurav's family is from Massachusetts, and like many other Indian American families, they had big hopes for their son. He had already been selected to work as a consultant in New York City after graduation. He even served as a tour guide and an orientation leader at his university, helping new students feel welcome. Clearly, he was not just studying hard, he was making a difference on campus. In the meantime, Bentley University released a statement after his death saying that they were deeply saddened by the tragedy. They said that this is an enormous loss for our community and promised to offer support for students and faculty who were affected. Well, the student has also asked everybody to respect the privacy of Gaurav's family during this difficult time. Now, can you imagine that? Spending years of hard work at school, getting ready to step into adult life, only for everything to end just before the finish line. It's a reminder of how fragile life is and how important it is to cherish every single moment. Imagine this. You have worked really hard, gotten admission to a good university in the US, arranged your finances and completed all the paperwork. But when you go for your student visa interview, it gets rejected, sometimes in less than 2 minutes. Unfortunately, this is now becoming a very common story for many Indian students applying for F1 visa. Well, the rejection rate for the Indian student has gone up. even though the dream of studying in America remains very strong. Let me tell you, why is this happening? Why are students with good marks, proper funding, and genuine intention still being turned away? One of the biggest reasons is the visa officers who are not really convinced that the student will return to India after completing their studies. Under Section 214B, if the officer believes that you might stay in the US permanently, they have all the right to reject your visa. And the sad part is they don't always explain their reason carefully. Many students say that they answered all the questions very confidently about their university admission, their bank loans, their sponsors, and still they were denied. Miscommunication during the interview is also a major reason. Take the example of a student who was working remotely for a US company while living in India. She explained this during her interview, but the officer misunderstood and assumed that she had already worked illegally in the US, which led to her visa rejection. Even after trying to clarify, she didn't get her visa. Experts say that it's very important to give clear, short, and simple answers during the interview to avoid such confusion. Some students are also facing rejection because of errors in their visa form or because they don't clearly show how they would pay for their studies in near future. Even if you say that your parents are sponsoring you, you still need to show proper bank statements, loan approval letters, and other documents. Any gap, any confusion in your paperwork can lead to a red flag. And sometimes, even if everything looks perfect, visas are still being denied, which is what makes this trend even more worrying. You know what's making this even more difficult is the current situation in the United States regarding immigration. The immigration rules are getting tighter, and there is political pressure to reduce the number of foreigners entering the country. Student visa officers now have more power and more freedom to reject any application without giving any specific reason. And wait, on the top of that, the US government has introduced a bill in Congress to cancel the optional practical training program. This program allows students to work for 1 year in the US after completing their degrees. Many Indian students use this time to apply for jobs and get H-1B sponsorship to stay longer. If OPT is cancelled, thousands of Indian students who took huge loan to study in the US may have to return immediately after finishing their courses without any job experience or any time to recover their investments. In fact, under Trump, there were also cases where students had their visas cancelled due to very minor legal issues or misunderstandings. Some students took their cases to the court and won, but the fear among international students remained. This uncertain environment is making many experts advise Indian students to think carefully before choosing the US for higher education. It's not about getting admission anymore. It's about getting a visa and being able to stay long enough to make it worth the investment. That's it for today. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more updates.